Hello, this is Taha.
This is Anaina,
This is Movie Masala.
and we're here to yap at you about films we've watched recently.
And today we're doing
Dial History.
Well over 50% are paranoid schizophrenic, and the others may well one day be or have been. A large number of them are very acutely suicidal, so to threaten a skyjacker with the possibility of death is like telling a child, if you'll be bad, I'll give you candy.
Right, so this is a very niche film. It's a documentary film from like 1997. And not gonna lie, I did not discover this on my own. I watched it for a class, as I have with many other films on this podcast before. So do not credit me with watching this of my own accord. However, it is extremely interesting.
why?
Not the least because of its content, but the way it's made as well.
Okay.
It's directed by Johan Grimond Prez, the director of the now Oscar-nominated new film Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat.
Let's go.
And it's basically an archival documentary. It's made up entirely of archival footage, which is nothing new to documentary cinema, except this is done in a very experimental, avant-garde way, in the sense that it takes archival footage of plane hijackings as its main thread, and then interlaces it with archival footage from like fast food ads, statistics, home movies, and stuff like that. And so basically, it's an ode to archival footage in itself,
Okay.
which is why it's interesting in the way that it's made. But the content of it's absolutely horrifying because it's talking about plane hijacking.
Yeah.
All the way starting from like the 1940s and 1950s up till the late 1980s.
Mhm.
And it has a lot of dark humor, which makes it a really difficult film to watch.
This
because
sounds
of
like
those
such a fascinating film with so many different things that it's trying to do at once.
Exactly. And like when you're watching it, you're like, Jesus Christ, what am I watching? Why is he making a film about plane hijackings that seem so like light? But at the same time, it gets you to confront like your own prejudices about what you think plane hijackings and like that kind of terrorism as America and the West kind of sold it as looks like and stuff. So it kind of
Okay.
challenges you to question the very idea that plane hijackings they're done by irrational people who are just hell-bent on destruction, which is not new or unique theme to have because loads of people have talked about this. I mean, the film, once it reaches that stage in history, it kind of shows footage of Leila Khaled, who is like one of the most notorious hijackers. Notorious, I say in a good way, I don't mean in a bad way.
Okay.
Hijackers for PLFP.
The
And
PLFP is.
Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine.
Okay. And why is this? What's a good hijacking?
No, I'm not implying that there's a good hijacking.
Okay.
Let me be very, very clear.
Okay. Thank God. I was confused.
What the film does is kind of get you to contextualize hijackings, which is not new, which is why I brought up Leila Khaled, because she's written a memoir, which if you read, she outlines her hijacking in great detail and outlines why she did them and what she did after them and what she did during them. And it kind of gets you to go, okay, all right. So plane hijacking, bad. But contextualizing them and understanding the history behind them, not so bad. But yeah, back to the film. Yeah, what it does is it contextualizes history as a whole through these archival footage of plane hijackings. And someone said this in the seminar that I was in. It kind of hijacks time itself
Elaborate.
because the film doesn't follow a linear
Timeline.
timeline. Exactly. It doesn't do like okay, this happened in 1950, 1951, 1952, 19 whatever. It doesn't do that. It kind of jumps back and forth. And sometimes it tells you that it's jumping back and forth in the archival footage. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's left up to you to realize whether at what moment in history you are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also kind of speaking to this kind of changing idea of how we document stuff in itself, which is like it went from like paintings and oral and written documentation of history to photographs to film that could be made by anyone on a camcorder to film that could be made by anyone on their mobile phone.
Yeah.
And basically, that's much later. Like a mobile phone is much later. The film doesn't speak about mobile phones. But we can kind of, watching the film, we can kind of reflect on the kind of impact a camera phone has. And what's really interesting is this film was made in 1997, before 9/11. Arguably the most
Infamous.
act of terrorism in common history or common knowledge. And the fact that this film was made before, you can kind of then watch it as a montage leading up to 9/11, eerily. Because as you're sat watching the film, when you go into it, you're thinking, okay, it's about plane hijacking. So at some point, 9/11 is going to show up, because how can it not show up? But then it doesn't show up because it's made in 1997.
Yeah, because the film can't preempt 9/11.
Exactly. It can't preempt 9/11, but in a way it does, because it foregrounds the history of 9/11 when you watch it at any point after 9/11. And then you kind of go, yeah, of course 9/11 was going to happen. There's no way it couldn't have happened, in the way that history as we see it through this film kind of happened. And the non-linearity of it, kind of relying on archival footage and stuff, makes it really eerie to watch and experience.
I can imagine, like, obviously I understand when the idea of like you see it and you're like, of course, like 9/11, it comes from not a place of like, yeah, like this could not have been prevented, but more from a place of like, you realize the history and you realize how, like, because certain things were not done previously, something like this had a much higher chance of happening. In that sense, yeah, I understand that. It just gives you contextualization to understand where something came from, and that it wasn't like this. I mean, it was still a terrorist act, obviously, but it didn't come out of nowhere. You can see how it came into being, I guess, in a way.
Exactly. And so in a way, the film is not justifying acts of terrorism or acts of violence. And neither am I. I'd like to be very, very clear. It's contextualizing them and explaining them, and in a way telling us what history and the archive should do. Like nothing in history is mutually exclusive of anything else that happened in history, including stuff like politics and capitalism and industrial revolution and the Second World War and the Cold War so it's a really interesting film. And one thing that I keep forgetting to mention, but really would like to this thing is, while the theme of the archival footage of plane hijackings is there, it's also narrated in certain bits by someone describing the experience of living in this one particular hotel room at a certain point in time, which makes it feel really disjointed. Like the narration feels really disjointed from the rest of the kind of plot, if that's what you want to call it, of the film. But then when you kind of see the footage that Grimond Press is showing us and hear what the narration is, you're like, I see. So the individual experience is never really an individual experience when you contextualize it in history.
Yeah.
Either in retrospect or in futurespect.
In that sense, history becomes like this tree where everything comes directly from the branch below. Nothing is just grown wholesale.
Exactly. And I've been doing a lot of research about like temporality and how we kind of view time.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, most of the theorists I seem to agree with say the same thing, which is that the past cannot help but affect our present, which cannot help but affect our future. So really, none of the three of them that we've so clearly demarcated have any meaning or should have any like strong grip or hold.
Okay.
And in that same vein, none of them should kind of be disregarded either.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of gets to the core of this film and gets to the core of this idea of what we deem is necessary to remember or hold. And yeah, I think it was a really interesting film that speaks, and the fact that it is an experimental avant-garde film is why it has so many like abstract intellectual theories and concepts attached to it, which is why we saw it for a class. But in general, I think it's a really good film to watch. And I'm not sure where it is available online, but if you are going to watch or have watched Soundtrack to a Coup d'etat and not watched this film, I would highly recommend watching it, just because it kind of tells you where this guy is coming from and his kind of
background as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A film to check out for a very specific niche audience, as you said, but also a film you should not watch on a plane. Not a plane movie.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
But yeah, that was it. Those are our thoughts. Hope you enjoyed this episode. This podcast is produced solely by us with musical assets from Pixabay. See you again next time.
Bye-bye.